listening to this. You are the Resistance.
Come with me if you want to live.
Welcome to the Now Playing Terminator retrospective series.
What is your mission?
It is Judgment Day for the Terminator films as we here at Now Playing watch and review all 4 films in the Terminator franchise in anticipation of McGee's new movie, Terminator Salvation, opening in theaters May 21st.
You can't do that. Wrong.
These conversations will be spoiler-filled critiques of the Terminator films, and as the films are R-rated, there may be some mild coarse language as well.
Win or lose, this war ends tonight.
And we're here to talk about Terminator, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Michael Biehn, Linda Hamilton, and directed by James Cameron. This is Arnie.
This is Marjorie.
And this is Stuart.
And we are here to talk about the entire Terminator trilogy, but I think a little bit of background information. We have all seen these movies, all 3 of them before.
Yep.
But none of us have read any of the Terminator EU. We haven't read the novels. We haven't watched the Sarah Connor Chronicles. We're here discussing the movies because, quite frankly, that show looked bad.
I didn't even know there was Terminator EU other than the Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Yes, there's a whole series of Terminator 2 books.
Really? I did not know that.
There's a whole series of novels that continue, but like everything else, as soon as the next movie came out, they all just completely ceased to exist.
There are things that happen between Terminator 2 and Terminator 3.
And that's also the Sarah Connor Chronicles. However, the creator of the Sarah Connor Chronicles say it's an alternate timeline than the movie timeline after Terminator 2. And so it's not really pertinent to the discussion of the movies because Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles, and Terminator 3 don't jibe. They don't even try.
You know, I'm a movie guy, and that's where I mostly put my attention to. So all of the other excess stuff, to me, it's easy for me to ignore that.
Yeah.
Maybe that makes me less of a fan of the thing itself. Maybe I'm not a Terminator fan, but I'm happy just sticking to the movies.
No, you're a purist, kind of like I am. I mean, I don't like to pay attention to that stuff, and I feel that way about other movies, too, where it's the movies, and I don't need all the side stuff.
The last time I was really into something that big, I think it was Doctor Who, and I was like 10 years old. And, I was ordering Doctor Who jelly babies. Like when you're eating the food of whatever you're into, you're there. You're into it.
I don't think they made any Terminator candy.
I bet you there was a cereal.
Yeah, probably with Terminator 2.
There's always a sugar cereal.
Yeah, you're right.
But these are rated R movies. They don't do that many kid tie-ins.
Yeah,
with
you're
Oh, but you know what? They did make toys of this, and I don't mean adult toys. I mean like there was like a action play set for children. They knew that even though kids weren't supposed to see this movie, they did. And indeed, I saw this movie as a kid.
Yeah, see, I did too. I grew up with this. My mother was a big sci-fi geek, and we watched Terminator 1 repeatedly in my house. There were like 3 things on the television at any given time at my house. It was Terminator, Star Wars, or Star Trek. So I grew up with this movie, and I actually, until she died, I grew up with Terminator 2. We watched that all the time too. We'd have Terminator 1 and 2 days at our house.
Awesome.
So, but I think it really hit with Terminator 2 instead of Terminator 1. Terminator 1 was a success, but Terminator 2 just like blew it out of the park.
Yeah, I felt like Terminator was something whispered about on the playground, but T2 was something that everybody saw.
Yes.
It was one of the last big movies that everyone saw. Terminator 2 and Jurassic Park, I think, were the last ones before we just started getting the blockbuster of the week.
Yes. Yeah, then everything wanted to be Terminator 2, and consequently, you missed that sense of real epic film. I guess maybe until Dark Knight. I think we can agree that one everybody saw.
Yeah, I think so. Now, let's see how big of a geek you guys are. Did you guys wake up with any kind of apprehension or observe Judgment Day at all?
Oh, an actual... Well, I don't know that I remember. It's the 8th.
There were 2 Judgment Days. There's the Judgment Day in 97, and then the redo Terminator 3 Judgment Day in 2004, and no, I didn't think about it at either time.
Really?
No.
Oh, I did. The first one.
I do remember graduating from film school in 97 and someone mentioning as we were in cap and gown that it didn't matter because in a couple months it would all be over because of Skynet.
So perhaps it was just me then. Okay, then maybe I'm a bigger Terminator geek than you two.
The only thing that truly has me laughing is that I do believe there is a company that has taken the name Cyberdyne Systems.
Yes.
And they are working on computer components, and I believe
they make robots.
They're making a Skynet. And I'm like, that can't go well.
No.
Oh, yeah, it's all fun and games until the nukes are launched.
Yes.
All right, let's talk about Terminator. Coming out in 1984, James Cameron was not really that well known back then, was he?
Not really.
Piranha 2, The Spawning. You don't remember that one with the fish? It was great because they couldn't just be relegated to the water. They actually could fly out of the water and eat you. It was great.
Well, that makes them more dangerous because otherwise you just don't go in the water.
I missed that one, huh?
Yeah, it's scarier than Jaws. You know what? I loved James Cameron as a kid. It had a lot more to do with his next film, Aliens. But after Aliens, I saw everything that he did repeatedly in theaters, on cable, whenever it came on. And I don't think I saw Terminator until after Aliens. So it was maybe 87, something like that, on home video.
I first saw it around the same time, 87 or 88, on an NBC airing at night, edited for television, full of commercials, and I found myself completely riveted by this movie and watched it the whole time then. But I don't know if I really saw it after that until like T2 time.
Mm-hmm. It's funny. I had a very geeky fantasy sci-fi 6th grade teacher.
Miss Myers?
Yes, Miss Myers. I hung on every word that she had to say. And she was very pro-Labyrinth, and she was very pro-Legend. And I saw those movies, but she was like, do not see The Terminator. So for many years, I was like, oh, I'm not going to watch that movie. But after Aliens, I'm like, I got to see what else this guy does.
And see, I can't remember when I first saw it. I know I was very young, and I know the idea of time travel, to me, at 11 and 12, was very mind-boggling, and I still can't get my head around it, to be honest.
And we'll get into it.
Yeah, but I remember being very frightened of Arnold Schwarzenegger as a Terminator, and we used to watch it all the time, watch this movie, because this is when VCRs were becoming popular, and I remember being terrified of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Just scared the crap out of me because he was so emotionless, and the fact that this was going to happen in the future, and this was around the time of The Day After. Remember that movie?
Oh, I was traumatized.
Yeah, and nuclear war scared the crap out of me, and then these robots were going to launch this nuclear war, and we're all going to die, and oh my God, it was very traumatizing, but I could not stop watching.
Yeah, this movie really taps into some primal 80s fears that children had, and that was that computers, which at the one time we were embracing video games and learning how to, program BASIC and all of that, but at the same time they're all going to kill us, war games, that was going to happen, and then, Russian/Holocaust fears, that any day now the bombs were going to fall and we would all be annihilated, probably because of Russians.
See, all this movie needed to be scarier was a Russian.
Yeah, and there was something about Arnold that even though he's Austrian, I don't think I knew where Austria was as a child. I just assumed it was somewhere in Russia.
Exactly. That accent's all you needed.
Yes, it was a Russian accent to me.
And Arnold really, he's become an American icon, especially now that he's your governor, Stuart.
I never voted for him, and I'm just going to say that. Yeah, we'll talk about that later, particularly I think around the time we talk about Terminator 3.
Yes.
The thing is, having seen him in so many movies, when I watched Terminator this last time, I was impressed at what a body he had.
Oh my God, it was amazingly huge, and can you imagine the work that goes into that?
That thing, it looked like stone.
Yeah.
I mean, seeing him in the 90s movies, he downsized.
No, I have to ask you guys a question. Do you remember in the early 90s, I believe, when he was in Springfield?
No.
He came to the Illinois State Fair to support this presidential physical fitness thing, and I went and saw him in person. He's huge!
The closest I've come is I've seen his outfit from Terminator 2 at Planet Hollywood, and that thing's freaking huge.
In person, the man is impressive.
But
very
even
impressive.
in this movie, he had downsized in the 90s. In the 80s, my dear God.
Yeah, he was just ginormous.
And just to put it in perspective, this was well well past his bodybuilding career.
Yes, it was.
This is not even, he's keeping himself in the shape, and it's a decade beyond pumping iron and when he, won Mr. Universe and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's extraordinarily hard to do. And I actually, side note here, my gym is Gold's, the original Gold's, where he used to work out. And he is somewhat of a revered figure there. And I can tell you, a lot of the people that used to hang with him, you can't maintain that physique day in, day out. The fact that he is able to stay in training shape for decades is remarkable, because typically those guys train for a competition, let it go afterwards, get fat, and then have to go do it again. But yeah, you don't always look like that. But Arnold, amazingly, any movie that you can follow up until maybe Batman and Robin.
Didn't he have some heart problems in the 90s?
Well, I think that is kind of the fallout from some of the negative effects of his training, which is the steroid use, which I don't know how publicized that is, but I think most people know that came to light from various times. But I just would like to exonerate one thing. You can do the steroids and all of that and maintain a body for a little while, but to achieve his physique for the decades that he did, it's a lot more than just pills and injections. I mean, you've got to really have a training dedication that is, well, it's impressive and imposing, which is, I guess, why he landed the part of the Terminator.
Well, one of the well-talked-about side effects of steroids is the shrinkage. He didn't have a problem with that in Terminator 1.
No, you can see it flapping in the wind.
He's swinging some pipe.
Yeah.
That was
It's like a
that
baby
was
elephant. Unexpected.
Yeah.
I don't remember that from my childhood, because as a little kid, you'd be like, oh, there's his penis, ooh. But don't remember that,
Yeah, well, he was impressive as the Terminator. What I found interesting was initially he was going to be the Kyle Reese character, and they were going to have somebody smaller, not muscular, being the Terminator, which is what they ended up doing with Terminator 2. And then at the end, they switched the parts around a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely works for Terminator 2, which we'll talk about, but I'm not sure how that would even make sense for...
Well, they made him very scary as a Terminator in the first one. They put some sort of prosthetic on his head and took away his eyebrows and gave him this giant Cro-Magnon forehead that made him very scary and emotionless.
Thank you.
Okay.
I was trying to figure out what it was about his face in this one that made him look more menacing. And you're right.
No eyebrows.
You're right.
Yeah.
That is what it is.
And I wonder if it was because he was new to acting at this point, and maybe he couldn't...
He'd done the Conan films.
That's a kind of different thing. Not much acting involved in those Conan films, I think. And because Terminators don't emote, maybe that was the fix to stop him from emoting with his forehead. Because, like you just did it, Arnie. You're pondering, and I saw your eyebrows go up, and maybe he couldn't control that. But it made him very scary with that. Because, like, the first half of the movie, we're watching this going, what's wrong with his forehead? I can't figure it out. Then all of a sudden, I'm like, he has no eyebrows!
And
Thank you. There was something I could not get a fix on what it was, but I'm like, there's something about his expression that is totally unique in this film that I've never seen before, and it does read as robotic. And I think you're right. When you crinkle your forehead, you're conveying that you're thinking, you're pondering, there's an emotional reaction going on inside. When you don't have that, it does add to the idea that he's this block of metal that just has a flesh exterior.
And it makes me wonder why they did it, and they didn't do it for any of the sequels. He looks totally different in every movie.
In Terminator 2, he was able to have a little bit of a thought process and emotion and things like that, so perhaps it transitioned well.
But yeah, there were definitely some makeup.
Let's also talk about the most important thing between Terminator 1 and 2. He was a star, and people liked him.
Yes.
At this point, Conan films aside, he really was kind of not deemed a very big box office draw. And this was the movie that really broke him out from sort of a action movie ghetto into more serious parts, certainly more sci-fi. It really put him on the path to superstardom.
So we've got Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now, he's from the future, coming back to kill Linda Hamilton. We haven't talked about Linda Hamilton yet. I think that Terminator 2 became so iconic for her. It was shocking to see her in this movie so soft.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was beginning of her transformation, I guess. Totally different character.
I like that. And, it's a theme, we could talk about it more during Terminator 2, but it's a theme of Cameron that he tends to take women in his movies and they start off maybe neurotic or overwhelmed, soft, not sure what to do, and by the end of it, they're pistol packing mamas. They are to be reckoned with, and they can do amazing things. Linda Hamilton in part one is very much a slasher film heroine. She's like Jamie Lee Curtis. She's like anyone that you would see in a Friday the 13th movie that lives. She is just a waitress that wears those cheesy peach outfits, a flow, if you will. And by the time we see her character arc finish at the end of Terminator 2, she is a muscle-bound, shotgun-wielding force of nature.
Now, one thing I wanted to say about that, what you said with the horror movies, is I definitely got a Friday the 13th vibe off of this, especially when the Terminator was killing Linda Hamilton's roommate and her boyfriend. It just reminded me so much of a scene out of a Friday the 13th or a slasher film.
See, I thought it was more Halloween. That particular scene was very Halloween.
Yes, I thank you, Marjorie, because you're segueing into my biggest revelation in watching Terminator.
Is it that the music's John Carpenter?
Well, John Carpenter looms over this movie huge. There's a lot of Halloween in this movie, and there's some Escape from New York in this movie, and there's some Assault from Precinct 13 in this movie. It's that early John Carpenter vibe.
True. I hadn't thought about that. I wrote in my notes here that I felt like the musical score was done by John Carpenter, and I've laughed several times to myself because in the 80s, we all thought, this is what the music of the future will sound like. It's all made by computers. And no, that's just what the music from the 80s sounds like.
Mm-hmm. Yes. The whole thing is really indebted to John Carpenter.
Well, speaking of that, John Carpenter, one of the most identifiable things from Halloween is what, Arnie or Stuart?
The Mask?
No, the music.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
So, and the Terminator song at the beginning, the theme song, it's very iconic.
Yes. I love that theme, too.
Oh, yeah.
It does stay with you. It's great.
It's very haunting.
It does,
Yes.
but the orchestrated version from T2 is what we all remember.
Correct.
When you're watching
banging
T1
bass.
and it's like on a Casio synthesizer, wah, 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 wah. It doesn't quite have the same punch.
No, but Carpenter always did come up with these minimalist themes. Yeah, usually using like just a synthesizer, and he was always very good at just getting you with just a little bit. And I think they really captured that here, and it's impressive. And you also mentioned the mask from Halloween. As Arnold starts to reveal his Terminator self, and his face becomes more and more fake, I was thinking, wow, you really do look like Mike Myers with just that white kind of mask
And that
that's
hair.
humanoid. Yeah, and that hair, exactly. He really did turn into Michael Myers before he became full-on mechanical skeleton.
You know what? We don't have movies anymore in the 90s and the 2000s that the soundtrack or the score is memorable.
Yeah, we do. Anything by Danny Elfman, like Batman. Da 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 da.
See, it doesn't do anything for me, but
Oh, it does. No, I'm going to disagree, Marjorie. Yeah, Danny Elfman does. I mean, they all sound like carnival music, but they are very distinctive. And I'm not sure who's doing that now, but I'm sure I could come up with if you give me enough time.
I just can't think of a movie I've seen in the last 10 years where the music instills any kind of fear or
Lord
feeling.
of the Rings had some it wasn't fear, but it was definitely
Or an
iconic.
emotion.
Yeah.
Or something that's iconic. And perhaps it's just I don't watch those kinds of movies anymore.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I can't think of anyone who's created a musical score that is so identifiable with the movie and does something on an emotional reaction.
I almost think some of this is marketing based, though. I mean, anytime there was a Burger King Whopper meal for Terminator, we heard bum 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 bum, and I think that the more it's driven home through commercials and through everything else in the other media, you never walk out of a movie singing a ditty. It's through all of the publicity where you hear it again and again. We went on the Terminator ride or show at
It's a show.
Hollywood Studios,
It's
Disney
Disney.
World,
Yeah.
whatever. And, you hear that music for an hour straight when you're standing in line.
2-3 hours at a time, actually.
And same thing with the Back to the Future music.
Burger King made Terminator?
I don't know if it was Burger King, but there was some tie-in.
Okay. I just wanted to delve double check. I'm like, wow, I really missed that one. But there was a Subway promotion in part 2 of Terminator, but that's obvious from the.
But you mentioned the Terminator's hair. Let's talk about Michael Biehn for a minute. First of all, I'm glad to know that post Judgment Day, hair products survive because he comes from the future wearing nothing but cool hair.
Yeah, it's definitely a future as only the 80s could conceive of it.
They had highlighting too. You know, one thing that survived Judgment Day were the hairdressers.
Mm-hmm.
All the Aquanet prevented the radiation.
Oh, that's not Aquanet, honey. That's definitely some expensive product. That's like Paul Mitchell.
I defer to Marjorie's hair product knowledge. I'm not sure what it is, but yeah, it definitely is that 80s future. You know, there was something about the 80s where they thought everything would be spiky and angular, and I don't know. None of that appears to be true now, but that was the vision.
One thing I did not remember rewatching this movie is how much of it was set in the future. How many of the scenes from the future we saw. I thought most of my memories were from Terminator 2. I haven't seen Terminator 1 that often, and I didn't realize how much Star Wars stuff there was. And I think that Star Wars is owed a great debt in the special effects of this movie. But all of the scenes in the future where the Terminator's breaking into the bunker and the fighting, and those really held up. I mean, for 1984 special effects, I thought they did a great job.
Yeah, I only remembered it as one scene in the beginning. Like, I remember we start in the future and then we go back. I didn't remember that Reese has a dream sequence in this. It's he falls asleep watching cranes and all of that, and is taken back to the future. And yeah, there's a extended scene where they are in the post-apocalyptic future. Somebody's watching a hollowed-out, burning television set, which I just thought was a great image of someone watching just a TV set on fire. And they teach us that dogs can actually sniff out Terminators. I didn't remember that whole thing at all, that they are using dogs every time someone enters their little bunker to test whether they're Terminators or not. And indeed, someone comes in with the glowing red eyes and blows everyone away. I have no knowledge or remember that at all.
I don't remember that part either, to be honest.
It's just my memory of it is always the movies take place in the present. Mm-hmm. And I didn't recall as many scenes from the future. It was just my memory playing tricks on me. But they were there. I also really liked the style of those scenes because they were almost completely wordless. There wasn't a lot of talking. It was all, pantomiming and screaming. There was just almost no dialogue in any of those scenes, and it made them really effective.
Yes. Unlike Terminator 2, and we'll talk about that on the Terminator 2 podcast, there isn't an over-reliance on someone narrating what's going on. There's not a lot of voiceover, and I think that's very effective because truly, I try to put myself in the mentality of someone that didn't understand the story at all, and you don't know what's really going on with these people. You know that it's about people from the future coming back to 1984, but you really don't know that Arnold is a robot until 30 minutes into the movie. You don't have that confirmed until then, and you don't find out about the nuclear war and Sarah Connor's role in the resistance until the halfway mark. I think it's very well calibrated as a screenplay of revealing that, and you really do need those flashbacks, or rather flash forwards to the future at just the right time. They seem to come at just the right time to convey what we need to know as people approaching the material that don't know anything about it. Of course, now everyone remembering Terminator 2, we come back to Terminator 9 steps ahead of the game.
I also thought the script was very tight because I was looking for a lot of plot holes. And I liked the fact that Reese said things like, well, we lost all the records in Judgment Day, so they don't know much about ancestry. But they know Sarah Connor was John Connor's mother. So that explains, why not time travel back to 1774 and find John Connor's great-great-great-great-grandmother.
In the Star Trek podcast, Ernie, we picked apart the time travel conceit many times, and it just never does any good. Once you open up that, it's a whole can.
Yeah, I agree, because you could really give yourself a migraine if you spend too much time thinking about the time travel, because he sent back in time to protect her, but did he actually change history by becoming the father of John Connor? Or was someone else supposed to be the father of John Connor, and it just so happened he altered it? It's very confusing.
It always was.
Yeah.
That's the way it is in Terminator Terminator. It's not like Back to the Future where you change something and start to fade into it out of existence. It always was.
That's very confusing. I mean, here's my big question about this time travel thing. How did he know to show up when she was ovulating? Because there's like 3 magic days that a woman can get pregnant.
It always was.
How did he know? Did they have like advanced gynecological?
He wasn't sent back to impregnate her.
Yes,
Okay.
he was. Actually, in a way, he was. Because
See?
John Connor, in the future, knows very well that Reese is his father.
True, but he was sent back to protect her from the Terminator as primary objective. And it just so happened...
That's what he told the primary objective was. But John Connor knows that if he doesn't send...
Did he know his mom was a slut? Because some guy is protecting her. She's like,
Actually,
let's have
he did
sex.
know mom's a slut because he talked about all the guys she hooked up with in Terminator 2.
Yeah, but...
She said she'd hook up with anyone who'd give her a gun.
Yeah.
Well, she had a motive. I mean, there's a lot banking on this time travel thing here. I mean, was she ovulating?
Yeah, I think, Marjorie, you're right. It's like there's something about this first Terminator that is changed in Terminator 2, but everything is predetermined in Terminator. You can't change the future. Everything that you're doing has always been and will always be, and that's the way it is, and there's no free will. It's not a scenario in which, even though we think people are fighting to stay alive and do all of this, there's no way that it could be any different, because everything happens for a reason. It's fate, it's destiny, it's predetermined, and these are all they're just all acting out a scenario that has always been. Terminator 2, a very different take. The future is changeable, malleable, we can stop Judgment Day. But in Terminator, everything that they think that they're doing is just part of the story that's already written.
And one of the things, though, that makes me wonder is if it's already happened, then there was no chance of the Terminator killing her, right? I mean, what if they hadn't sent Reese back? He still couldn't have killed her then? Or
Right.
was it just they always sent him back?
Or more importantly, since we're dealing with computers and logic and all of that, why do they even bother when they know they don't have a chance? And
Exactly.
if they don't go back in time, they won't even be born themselves because they are introduced the technology that creates their existence, just like John Connor sends back the person that creates his existence. It's a paradox, I believe is the word we're searching for.
Yes.
And it's very cool how trippy it is. I heard James Cameron smoked a lot of dope when he was making this movie.
I think it's
believe
beyond
it.
dope. I think it's more, you need something to really enhance your thinking. Perhaps it's LSD.
I don't know the drugs of choice, but I did hear he was a bit of a stoner at this era in his career.
The one thing also, though, that this movie did, it was obviously built with no sequels in mind, because they said, first of all, that Reese went through and then they blew up the machine, so there was not going to be more time travel.
Right.
And the second thing that they said is the humans won the war against the machines. It was at the moment when the humans had turned the tide and won the war that the machines decided to try time travel.
You're right.
And so it was really a very closed story. Here we have the whole thing. We have the conception of John Connor, and it tells us the entire story of the future in the present.
Yep.
It seemed very nice and tight that way. Like you said in Star Trek, we picked apart the time travel. Here, this all felt very tight and very well thought out. Pot or no pot.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about the fact that the robots were losing at the time that they tried this whole time travel gimmick, that this was like the last recourse. I was trying to figure something out as they were talking about the post-apocalyptic future. The imagery that Reese conveys is that humans get turned into machines and they do the work of slaves for the machines. Did you guys understand that, or did that really make any sense to you, or should I just wait for Terminator 4 to explain this?
The way I understood it is they used the humans as slaves. They were captured by the machines and forced to work under the threat of death.
I got it like a Nazi camp kind of thing out of it, like
a work camp.
Yeah,
Okay.
where you worked because it would prolong your life just a little bit before they killed you.
I couldn't figure it out whether it was like personal computers are like, oh, you want me to do all this addition? Now you got to do it, and I'm going to sit here and drink this.
Yes,
soda.
they have big factories of people doing math.
I was trying to figure out, is this just a role reversal? Are they mad? Do computers think they're enslaved? Do they want to lie on the couch sometimes and not have to think? I don't know. I couldn't figure out exactly why robots had a beef with humans and what it was that they wanted out of humans.
But with Skynet, I took it as it saw humans as imperfect, decided that...
We can do it better than you. You guys don't know what you're doing.
But what I didn't understand, to go back to Stuart's point, is why they didn't just build more machines. They obviously can churn out gunships and Terminators and all kinds of things. Couldn't they turn out a few cleaning droids? Because he said that humans were made to move the bodies. Well, wouldn't it be much easier just to kill all the humans and make some more droids to turn out the bodies?
I think that's a human perspective, Arnie. Robots wouldn't see it that way. They want humans to do the work that they used to do, I think.
I suppose it is more efficient to reuse currently available resources than develop new ones.
Yeah.
It's all about efficiency for computers.
Yeah, it's the future which is I guess the premise of this new McG. It's going to be a trilogy. Is that what we're hearing?
I didn't know it was McG that did it either.
McG did it. I think that they're just making the one, but they're hoping.
No, I have confirmation that Part 5 is in development.
Really?
Yeah, they've got a script working, and my understanding was a couple years ago they wanted to do, because everyone's doing trilogies, they wanted to do a future trilogy. My point is that I am curious about how undeveloped the future world is. Even though we spend some time and we get a sense of the quality of a life for someone in the rebellion, I don't really quite understand what the conflict is. We just are meant to go with the base feeling that robots are not to be trusted. That's a common theme in a lot of Western science fiction movies. Hal will not open the pod bay doors, and the computer from War Games will play a game by killing everyone. It's just very common to think of computers, machines, technology as cold and anti-human.
Well, this was around the time when personal computers were first making their way into the people's homes. And if you listen to a lot of what Reese says, it's building a distrust of computers because this is a new technology. And I imagine maybe our grandparents felt about it like people do now about the internet, about how our parents feel about the internet. They're going to steal your credit card numbers and wipe you all out.
Mm-hmm.
But he was preaching the fear of the defense network being run by computers and everything will be tapped into it.
Mm-hmm.
When now you're like, well, yeah, that's how it is. And we don't even think about it. Everything is run by a computer. But back then, when a home computer was a novelty item, it was freaking scary.
Yeah, it's paranoia.
Well, we're talking a lot about the plot, and because the plot of this is pretty large for a low-budget 80s movie or medium-budget 80s
It was low budget? I thought it was...
No, it was low budget. I think it was only about $5 or $6 million.
And they spent it all in the future.
Well, they sure didn't spend it on that Arnold puppet.
No, when he's cutting out his eye, that is what I reference all bad effects to.
That was unbelievable.
You are the person to deal with eyes, Arnie, and anything being
he hates
eyes. Did that affect you?
Oh, I think I was having trouble looking when he was X-Acto knifing his eye, although I wanted to know if he went to a hobby shop, because he had an entire X-Acto knife kit there.
Yeah, he does some little modeling work on the side.
When he's not out chasing Sarah Connor, he's, putting together model airplanes. He keeps his hands busy.
He does.
But no, the puppet was bad. I thought he looked better as the full T skeleton than he did as the half Arnold, half robot.
I don't know, that stop motion.
The Jason and the Argonauts.
Yeah, the stop motion on top of the green screen was just deliciously bad.
Yeah, it was better when they just didn't show the puppet's legs and had Stan Winston underneath him moving the arms.
Who's Stan Winston?
The effects guy.
Oh, okay. I thought you just made up that name.
No, Stan Winston's a very famous effects guy.
Yeah, this is and I think he worked on all of them. Maybe not the third one, but definitely the second one.
No, he did the third too.
But you know what? I find they're clearly effects, and you could even argue they're not good effects. But I find there's a charm to stop motion effects. It does recall movies. Ray Harryhausen sort of developed that whole notion of how to incorporate it with live action, and just seeing the skeleton climb through the presser, I thought it was cute. Maybe cute is not what you're going for in a science fiction slasher movie, but I thought it was kind of funny.
I think, though, they had a remarkable design of that endoskeleton.
Yes.
I mean, that still works today.
Oh, yeah.
It's the evil face and
it's the red eyes and
the teeth,
the lack of the like back jaw. You know, like I guess the mandibles area.
Yeah, it's just imposing freaking design.
Yeah.
Robots are scary anyway, though.
But beyond it all, I think this movie had some kick-ass action. It was go, go, go almost the entire time, and I loved all the chase scenes in it. You know, when they're in the tunnel. Are there a lot of tunnels in L.A., Stuart?
All right, you're hitting on a beef of mine, which is that now that I've lived in LA for a few years, I don't think of the city the way that I did as a child, which is that every time you saw LA as a child, you thought of this sprawling metropolis, and, I know very well where things are now. So that is the 3rd Street Tunnel. That is downtown Los Angeles.
We've been through it, Arnie.
They hop all over in this city. One minute they're in Big Bear, which is hours away. The next minute they're downtown, then they get out of town, and then they're back downtown again. It didn't make any sense that the way that the characters move around the city. They did it basically because they were cool places to shoot, and I applaud them for that. And it's fun. It is fun to see LA as it looked 20, 25 years ago. I enjoy that. But no, there's not a lot of tunnels in LA, and I don't know why they were in 1 minute in Big Bear and the next minute they were in 3rd Street.
But I really think the action is what got this movie going. And the cool guns, the laser scope, which was actually real, but yet so futuristic in 84.
Mm-hmm.
And, just all of the action in it and all of the gunfighting. It's so easy to make a boring movie where people are just shooting at each other. But all the chase scenes and the semi-truck and the motorcycle, it all just really worked in this one.
But I think what worked for it a lot was, again, like Stuart said, only partway through the movie did you realize why he's killing all the Sarah Connors and what's going on. And I think that added to it, because up until that point, it was just perhaps a little horror movie or, like some crazy psycho killer.
Yeah, I think it definitely has its roots in slasher films. I think that even if you're a horror guy and you don't necessarily like science fiction, you would really dig this one because it really follows that boilerplate.
It's horror, sci-fi, and action all really blended well.
Yeah, with a nice sort of Zen philosophical thing thrown in there with how everything works out in the timeline.
Fate.
Yeah, fate. Exactly. It's well put together.
I have one beef with this movie, though. Just one. I really liked it, but one problem. Reese's death is extraordinarily lame. He's trying to use a pipe bomb on the Terminator and doesn't roll away from the explosion fast enough to not be killed by it. I think he should have had a better death, given that he's the father of the savior of the future. His death should have been a little bit more than, crap, he didn't get away fast enough. The Terminator should have actively killed him, I think. I think it would have made the Terminator a little bit more dangerous if he'd punched through his chest or something. Or it would have made his death more noble if he'd stayed behind knowing he was going to die, but to buy Sarah a few more minutes instead of just, oh crap, misjudged that one.
You know what? And yet somehow it's a parallel for Michael Baine's whole career, because this guy should have been a big star, right? He should have had a big impact on movies. He was in Alien. He was in Terminator. He was good looking, action. He could sort of act. I mean, not a great actor, but it seemed like he was going on to bigger things, and then he was just gone. Can you think of a movie he was in other than Navy SEALs that wasn't made by James Cameron? I can't.
He was in a Lifetime TV movie.
Ugh, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like a long time ago.
That's the bomb going off.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the end.
Yeah, it was in the 80s, actually.
Ugh. Yeah, I don't know why it didn't work out for him, but yeah, he just gets sort of dropped. I mean, Arnie, you said, did you not like his death? I actually had forgotten how he died because it's just so abrupt that way. It's like, yeah, all of a sudden they just want to make it about Linda Hamilton against Arnold, and he's just out of the picture real quick. And it is unfortunate because he is a really cool figure and obviously important to the story. He should have had a memorable exit.
Yeah, I agree. He should have had something spectacular, and it was just kind of an afterthought. And perhaps that does sum up Michael Baine's career, like you guys said.
Poor guy. He was supposed to be Spider-Man, too, when James Cameron was going to make Spider-Man, but obviously that didn't get made until well past his viability as a teenager.
Yeah, not really going to work now.
I think he was going to be 20-something Spider-Man.
Well, let's talk about Sarah a little bit. We've kind of glossed over her because in this movie, she was at the beginning of her journey, so to speak. And she starts out as this typical American early 20 girl working at a faux big boy. It was Big Jeff.
I was wondering what it was. I'm like, I know that that's not Big Boy, but it was.
It even had a Big Jeff outside the restaurant.
Oh, well, I somehow missed that.
Yeah, and she rides, the typical 80s vehicle, the little scooter.
The Vespa?
Yeah, that's pretty Vespa, I think. And she goes from this naive girl to the end of this movie, like Stuart said, this pistol packing mama, because I think that's a good analogy, but she takes everything that Reese says at face value. I mean, she has disbelief in why me, and...
No, she does not believe it until after she sees the Terminator shot time and time again, and then he gets back up.
Yeah, but still, at that point, you gotta think, okay, I'm just dealing with a bunch of PCP weirdos or something.
Well, that's what the cops told her, too.
Yeah,
It seemed like she was questioning it again in the police station. It's like she didn't believe it, then she saw what the Terminator could do, believed it again, and then the cops made her question it and tried to bring her back down, and then the Terminator comes in and busts up the police station.
But even at, like, the hotel, she's really naive because she's calling her mom.
Yeah.
And dumb.
She wasn't the brightest bulb in the lamp.
She was a good foil, I think, because, one, she didn't take her top off. Oh, wait, she did.
Yes, she did.
That's right, she did. During sexy
those were
time.
Pretty nice, too. I was talking about the Wang earlier. I got to get this in. She had nice boobs when she was young.
But she wasn't like the gratuitous horror movie girl,
No, that was her roommate.
Yeah, that was her roommate. But I think she made an interesting transformation.
Those headphones had to have been loud. Her boyfriend crashed through a plate glass window into a mirror and through a door, and she can't hear a thing. That Prince music must have been really turned up.
Yeah, what does that say about the sex, too, when it's like, okay, I'm done. I'm totally tuning you out now, completely.
Well, she had it on during the sex.
Did she really?
Yeah, she was wearing the headphones during the sex.
It was just a duty.
Ouch.
Your cock is good, your words not so much.
It's like, oh yeah, baby, harder. Oh yeah, keep going. Oh baby. You done? All right, I'm going to make a sandwich.
Yeah, she was definitely a character that you were expecting to bite it.
Yeah. But I think when we see Sarah's biggest transformation is in between 1 and 2, and she goes from still somewhat naive to Sarah Connor in T2, which I think is a big thing, which we'll talk about more.
I think we really start to see it at the end. I mean, she's down in Mexico, she's pregnant, she's recording the tapes. She knows at the end that she has to do something. And again, it's impressive that the actress could be the same actress, and they didn't have to replace her with, like, Xena or something for Terminator 2. They actually got the actress to buff up and continue that transformation. I mean, it must be easier when it's your wife. Honey, you're looking fat. Why don't you go to the gym? I'm making a movie.
That wasn't his wife until after.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. His wife was actually a producer and helped make some of his earlier movies. And then...
He has a history of this now.
But I don't want to judge James Cameron too harshly for his personal failings. But Linda Hamilton was not his wife until she was uber feminist commando.
Oh, I thought it was before. My bad.
No.
But then look who he left her for. The hell? That was.
Who is she with?
He left her for the girl in Titanic, the granddaughter.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You're right.
Yeah, she's not very attractive.
I can't even remember her.
Exactly. That's my point. But I think it was interesting to see Linda Hamilton do that. And if you follow the Terminator, I guess, trilogy, what it's going to be at the end, I'm not sure. But that photo makes its way into T2. And it does not look like a doctored photo. I think it's an actual photo.
It ends on just the right note because there's this metaphorical storm that's coming. Everyone says there's a storm coming. And then you see her driving into Mexico and these storm clouds coming in. I don't know if they get storm clouds in Mexico. We don't get them in Los Angeles. And it's obviously a matte painting, but there's something very effective about that special effect that just seems appropriate and a great transition from what we've just seen to where we're going.
No, I think that's great. That's perfect. Yeah, exactly. It's leaving the peaceful behind, and the future is what's going to be stormy. And
it's going to get rocky down there in Nicaragua.
But why Mexico? I mean, aren't there plenty of illegal guns in L.A.?
It's a different world in Mexico, and crossing the border is a
Are there more
deal.
commando type people in Mexico that she can network with?
It's much easier in Tijuana to get guns, I would think.
I would think it's pretty easy in America.
We didn't talk about about this movie's biggest legacy. I'll be back.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Everybody associates that with Terminator, but what I found out, we were watching The Running Man the other night, and he looks up at like the game show guy and he goes, I'll be back. And I'm like, how many movies does Arnold say that in? He says it in 8 movies. It became Arnold's personal tagline.
Yes. But will he be back?
He doesn't say it in T3, though.
He says, I'm back.
And he says, she's back.
Yeah, she's back, and then he says, I'm back. He does.
Or she'll be back, he said.
Yeah, she'll be back, and I'm back.
Uh-huh. But it's funny that we all associate that line with the Terminator, but he used it in, like, Commando and The Running Man. It's, like, his thing.
Which is a testament, I think, it's a testament to how big Terminator was for his career. That this changed the game for him, that this persona, these taglines, this was it for him. This character is what he'll be remembered for, more than Governor of California, that's for sure.
I'm just reminded, though, of a Family Guy skit where Stewie is at a Star Trek convention, and Patrick Stewart says, engage, and little Stewie goes, ooh, he said what he said on the show! I mean, is that what everybody's waiting for? Come on, Arnold, say I'll be back, say I'll be back. Oh, he didn't say it.
I had forgotten, you know what, I think of these catchphrases as being a part of Terminator 2. That's when he's, there's more comedy in his fish out of water. He doesn't understand culture, and the kid teaches it to him. In this one, I guess I really wasn't expecting I'll be back. I must confess, I didn't remember him talking too much. And so that whole I'll be back in the police station before he, drives through it and kills all the cops. I remembered the cops dying, but I didn't remember that catchphrase. So, I don't know what that means, other than maybe I wasn't as tapped into this as an Arnold movie as some people. But
this really did, like you say, open the doors for him.
Mm-hmm.
All right, to wrap up our discussion of Terminator, Marjorie, Stuart, do you recommend Terminator?
I do, absolutely.
Yes, I definitely do. It's a sci-fi classic. It earns that reputation, and I think, like I said before, you can appreciate it if you like science fiction. You can appreciate it if you like action. You can appreciate it if you like horror movies. It really converges a lot of genres into one pulpy, enjoyable good time that is a real homage to John Carpenter, and maybe better than most of his movies.
And I also recommend Terminator. I think it's more intelligent than most shoot-'em-up films. I think that it has enough sci-fi to get the geek on, but yet not so much that if you're turned off by sci-fi, it's going to bother you. It's a good blend of, as we said earlier, horror and action, and I think that it holds up well. Here we are 25 years later.
25 years, wow.
So Marjorie and Stuart, thank you for joining me to talk about Terminator, and we'll be back to talk about Terminator 2.
Perfect.
Thank you for joining us for this installment of Now Playing's look back at the Terminator movie series. Now Playing is a Venganza Media production and is not affiliated with the Halcyon Company or Warner Brothers Pictures.
The unknown future rolls toward us. I face it for the first time with a sense of hope.
Be sure to come back to NowPlayingPodcast.com to listen to new installments of our Terminator retrospective, culminating in a weekend of release review of Terminator Salvation, opening May 21st. Until next time,
hasta la vista, baby.
It's weird that we're doing 2 series in a row that feature Paul Winfield.
Oh, you're right. Trek 2.
He was only in the first one in Terminator.
Yes.
And he was only in the second Star Trek, but still,
he had
Paul
5
Winfield.
lines in each, right?
I'd say his role was approximately similar.
Yeah, it was.
I was not aware that there's an action film Ghetto.
Dolph Lundgren's in it.
Yeah, Steven Seagal lives there permanently.
I think I saw Jean-Claude's condo at the corner.
It's there, trust me. And then there's other ones. There's ones that people never even, like Billy Blanks,
Oh, the Tybo guy.
Yeah, he did end up breaking out with the Tybo, but that's a different podcast.
I didn't know he was an actor.
Ugh.
I've seen most of his movies.
Oh, that's really sad.
Yes.
I had some time on my hands.